Hello everyone, welcome back to my System and Functional Linguistics playlist. And in this video, we are going to discuss one of the systems to analyze textual meaning in the clause. That is the Theme-Rheme System. And this may be the last video I will make in this playlist because we have discussed all major systems or primary systems in systemic functional grammar to analyze the meaning of the text based on metafunctions, mediational, interpersonal, and now the textual metafunction, textual meaning. As usual, let's see what we will cover in this video. As you can see here, first we will revisit the textual metafunctions just to remind ourselves about what textual metafunction is, and then we will discuss the meaning of the theme and rheme in systemic functional linguistics, and then we will see different types of themes and then how to identify them in clauses, and then the last one we will see how this system can be used to analyze the thematic progression patterns in the text, because there are lots of things to cover in this video. Let's begin.
Okay, so we begin by revisiting the textual metafunction. As we have discussed previously in the videos before, that language has three simultaneous functions, and one of the functions is to organize the message in the text uh, by making it coherent. Okay, so it functions to construct the text coherently, and it creates what we call the textual meaning. So just remember the experiential or ideational meaning, the personal meaning, and then the textual meaning. By meaning here, we are not referring to the meaning of words, the semantic meaning of a linguistic element, but it, it relates to the function. Okay? It's more about the function. Like, for example, when we talk about the personal meaning, we talk about um, the types of interaction and the commodity being exchanged through the interaction. When we talk about the ideational meaning, we talk about what the speaker or writer, I'm sorry, are trying to say, the process, the participants, okay, and the circumstances. And now, when we talk about textual meaning, we talk about how the writer or the speaker organizes messages, okay, in the text. And in systemic functional linguistics or systemic functional grammar, the textual meaning is analyzed through at least four main systems, if I'm not mistaken. And we will only discuss the Theme-Rheme system in this playlist, because this is quite a fast system to discuss. So I limit myself to only discuss the Theme-Rheme system. Okay, now we move to the meaning of theme and rheme in functional linguistics. So we need to know what these terms refer to, okay? And as you can see here, I cite Holiday and Matheson, who state that the clause has a meaning as a message based on textual data function, a quantum information, and then the theme is the point of departure for the message. So this is the key point. The theme is the point of departure for the message. So it is typically at the very beginning of the clause. Okay, um, especially in English. Okay? It is the element the speaker selects for grounding what he is going to say. So this is the starting point. Okay? The starting point for what follows. So as you can see in the examples here, the themes of these clauses, of each clause, uh, is located at the very beginning of the clause. So as the point of departure for the message, let's say that a clause is a message, okay? Because that is how the textual metafunction sees the clause. And the point of departure must be at the very beginning of the clause. But as we will see in the next slides, uh, it is not as simple as that. Okay, and then the rime is simply the reminder of the clause. So it contains the information about the theme. For example, students prefer teacher feedback. Okay, so the theme is students, and the rime is what is said about students. Okay, and then we can see here, however, students still struggle. Okay? Here we have two themes, but these two themes are actually one theme. They construct one theme element where where the rime is still about the students. Okay, so these two basic examples uh, will help us to identify the theme in different clause types. Okay, and now we look at the types of themes. First one we have the topical theme. So before I continue, I need to say this that the types of themes is based on the metafunction. So we have the topical or the experiential theme, we have the interpersonal theme, and then we have the textual theme. Okay, so the topical theme uh, is based on the transitivity system. Okay, so it is located at the very beginning of the clause. All theme, all themes are located at the very beginning of the clauses because they are the point of departure for the message. But if the very beginning of the clause is the participant, the process, or the circumstances, or nominal groups that names the topic, then it is called the topical theme. Okay? Like here, you see here, this is the topical theme because the clause begins with the participant. Okay? Participant. And when the term used is just theme like this, then it is it means the topical theme, especially the unmarked topical theme. Why? Because it is the normal expected theme, like subject, okay, like the subject of the clause. But when the very beginning of the clause is an element, something other than the expected subject, for example, circumstances, a circumstance, and then it is called marked topical theme. Okay, marked topical theme. It is marked because it is something other than the subject of the clause. You know that in a clause, the circumstance can be at the end. It is typically located at the end, but we can also uh, put it or locate it in the at the very beginning of the class. We will see one example later. Okay. And then the interpersonal theme uh, is the theme that is the mood and or modality elements that express attitude, stance, or interaction type. Okay, like in questions, the basic speech functions. There are four basic speech functions, and one of them is question to demand information, and the question clause or interrogatory clause, for example, is a yes and no question, begins typically begins with auxiliary like do or does or did. Okay, and that one is the mode. The theme, but the interpersonal theme. Okay, or again we will see the examples later. But I want you to understand that we have interpersonal theme. Okay, and then the textual theme. We need to uh, not to confuse the between the textual theme and theme as the system to analyze the textual meaning. Okay, it is called the textual theme if it is a connective or continuity device, okay, that organize the flow of text and signal relations between clause like but and like conjunctions like transition signals. Okay, okay. And then uh, typically a theme is constructed uh, by multiple themes like this. This theme is constructed by a textual and topical theme. Okay, and the typical structure is that the textual theme begins will be the first, and then followed by the interpersonal theme, if any, and then the topical theme. But we need to remember that the primary theme that we need to identify and close is the topical theme. Okay, the topical theme can be said that the topical theme is you know the obligatory uh, theme in a clause because it is the starting point for the message. It was what the message is about. The term theme is like topic. Okay, we can understand theme as a topic. Okay, and I have tried to simplify the rules, not rules, but yeah, something like that, just to guide us to in identifying the themes. So theme is the first meaningful element in the clause that sets up what the clause is about. Okay, so what what the topic of what the topic of the clause is. And then to identify a theme, we need to look for the first experiential element. Okay, the topic of theme. Okay, whether it is a participant, the process, or the circumstance. But you know that if it is the circumstance, then it is an unmarked topical theme. Okay, yeah, no, I mean it is a marked topical theme other than the participant. Okay, okay. And check if anything comes before it. It can be a textual theme or an interpersonal theme, like the example that I have just shown you before. Okay? And then this is the very important one. The topical theme is always the last theme element before the rhyme begins, like this. So we may have more than themes here, but the topical theme is always the last, just before the rhyme block begins. Now, how to identify themes? Okay, as I have said to you before, in English, the theme is typically the first elements in the clause. So we need to find the element at the very beginning of the clause, before the first marked finite or verbal. Okay, like this is the finite or the verbal groups begins from this verb. Okay, and this too is the you know the verbal group. Okay, the finite verbal group. Yeah. But not with this because this is an interrogative clause. No, I mean the imperative clause. So because the imperative clause is typically uh, started by the verb. Okay, the subject is uh, omitted. Okay, so in the imperative clause like this, the verb is the theme. Okay, and everything else in the clause is the real. Okay, and we need to take a note that in a clause like there are many benefits, the word there is the theme. Okay, it is an existential verb, and then many benefits is there. Okay, let's take a look at this example. Honestly, some students prefer the feedback. So here, honestly, it is an adjunct and it is an interpersonal theme. Okay, why? Because it this element, this theme is interpersonal because it expresses the the modality, the speaker's modal meaning. Okay, but the clause is about some students, and then some students is the topical unmarked topical theme. Okay, and then these two elements construct the theme of the whole clause. Okay, and then the rest of the clause is the rhyme. And then submit your essay. I think I have explained to you before that this verb submit is the theme because in a command or imperative clause, the subject is, restrictively omitted. And then this one, or you will fail, as you can see, or here is a conjunction, and because it functions to, to connect the clause, connect the elements in the clause, or connect the elements in the clause, then it is a textual theme. But the clause is about you. Okay, so you is the topical, and then these elements builds this the theme for the whole clause, and then the rest one will fail is the ring. Okay, you need to look at these two clauses as one sentence. Submit your essay or you will fail. So to identify the themes, we need to separate the clause. Okay, the clauses. We need to divide the sentence into the clauses, and then we identify the theme. But when we deal with questions, the way we look at the themes is quite different. Okay, but these are the simplified guide for you. In yes or no interrogatives, the finite verb, whether it is an auxiliary or modal, functions as the interpersonal theme, while the next nominal group is the topical theme. So like here, did students submit the draft? Here, did is the interpersonal theme and students is the topical theme. And this can the teacher give feedback? Can is the interpersonal theme and the teacher is the topical theme. Remember that the unmarked topical theme is the expected element like subject. Okay. Okay. So uh, the auxiliary or modal verbs here make the theme interpersonal because they mm, they express the tense, the finiteness, okay, of the clause, and they determine the speech roles and the speech functions, whether it is a statement, question, command, or an offer. Okay, so that's why they are interpersonal themes. I hope that you understand that. And in WH interrogatives, the WH element is the theme, and if the WH word is the subject, and then it is also the topical theme. Okay, like here, why do students prefer teacher feedback? Okay, and here the why is the theme. This is the topical theme. Why? Because the answers to this question is a circumstance of reason. Okay, as a circumstance. So, so this is an experiential element. Why is the circumstance of reason? It targets the the circumstance of reason. And here, how did the teacher respond? The how is also the theme, the topical theme. Why? Because it targets the circumstance of manner. Okay, and then who gave the feedback? Who is the topical thing? Why? Because who targets the participants? Okay, it asks the participant, the feedback provider, okay, in this case. So that's why uh, the theme is the WH element. Okay, even if the WH element is the subject like this, who gave the feedback? This is the subject. But in this clause, in these questions, the how is not the uh, subject. Okay, how is the adjunct, but here it functions as the adjunct, but here in the theme and rheme system, it is the theme. Okay, and in the transitivity system, adjunct function as the circumstance element. So that's why in here we call it themes because they target or they relate to the ideational or experiential elements of the class. In this one, who is the theme, who is the subject, and so so it is a the topical theme. And I have told you before that we can also have a clause like this when the clause begins with an circumstantial element like this in the last meeting, and this is still a question. Okay, in the last meeting the students submit their drafts. Okay, so in this clause the theme we have the circumstance here, the marked topical, and then the the sign that this is a question that is defining the so that's why it is interpersonal. It is interpersonal theme because it reflects or it tells us the speech functions, and then the subject, the students, which is the participants. So that's why it is a topical theme, a marked topical theme, and then the reminder of the clause is the rim. Okay, so uh, this theme is constructed by multiple themes, and the use of the example of marked topical theme here is not just limited to the uh, to a question clause, but also in a statement clause. For example, in the last meeting, students submitted their drafts. Okay, so we will have the a marked topical theme and an unmarked topical theme. Okay, and the personal theme is removed because it is a statement. All right, and now we come to the thematic progression. We may ask question why we need to to know the to be able to identify the theme and dream in clause. The answer is because it will help us to to analyze the thematic progressions, how how a text uh, thematically develops, okay, how the information develops. Okay. Thematic progression, as you can see here, shows how a text thematically develops based on the connection between the themes and roots. And it also shows how information is developed and organized in the text. So this is also related to another system uh, given a new system. So in Holiday, I use that there are two types of information in the text or clause. That is the given and the new. Okay? Given means that something that, or given is the information that the reader, for example, can recover. Okay, maybe because we have mentioned before, because like theme, because it is in the theme. Given is in the theme. Okay, because it is located at the very beginning part of the uh, clause, and rheme at the end, or the rest of the clause is the rheme. Then given means that that information has already been told. Okay, so the reader can access that. But new is something that they expect to to receive. So the theme and rheme focus on the from the speaker or the writer's perspective. Meanwhile, the given and new is from the audience, whether it is the listener or the reader's perspective. So whether they can recover the information. If they can recover the information, and then it is a given, it is in the theme, and then the information that they expect to receive from the class, or through the class, I mean the news in the message is in the read. Okay, so we just think about how a text cannot develop because the writer uh, keeps to talk about the same thing over and over. Okay, so keep repeating the information that he has told before. So the new information is not sufficiently developed in the text. Again, that is one kind of the thematic progressions, and we will not be able to identify the thematic progressions without the ability to to identify the themes and rhymes in the class. There are three major patterns when we talk about thematic progressions. They are the constant theme patterns or reiteration, the linear theme patterns or zigzag patterns, uh, like in some SFL sources, and the split ring patterns. We will see these three patterns one by one. This is the constant theme patterns, and this pattern is characterized by the same theme repeats across clauses, producing the effect of continuity where the focus is on one actor or element, on one thing. So this is what I just said before. When we read about the text, in which the writer keeps talking about the same thing over and over, or the same people, like in a biographical text, because the focus of the text is on the person, on the character of the biography, and then the constant theme pattern will be prominent. Okay, I have one paragraph here, consisting of two sentences. We can divide the paragraph into clauses, and then we can see this pattern. Okay, so we have four clauses here, and as you can see, I have identified the theme and rheme for each clause. In clause 1, most of the students prefer teacher feedback. The theme is the students, but some of them prefer peer feedback. Here, the topical theme is also the students, because some of them here refers to students. Okay? They say that, okay, they could get new perspectives from their peers. This is an embedded clause, and this is the content of the what is said, okay. But we need to, to the divide them. We need to separate them into clauses so that we can identify the themes. And here the theme is they, and they is the student, refers to the students, and also the theme is repeated here. They is, yeah, is this day, is this the students. So the theme across the classes is about the students. Okay, so this this paragraph is entirely about the students. Okay, their feedback preferences. Okay? But but the problem with this pattern is that the new information in the ring here is not explored. Okay, but unlike the constant ring pattern where the themes of the clauses are the same, for the writer constantly repeating the themes. In this pattern, the linear theme pattern, the theme of a clause is derived from an element in the rim of the preceding clause, producing the effect of information flow. Okay, let's take a look at the example here. Most of the students prefer teacher feedback because teacher feedback is more accurate than the feedback. Although the feedback can be effective, its effectiveness can be hampered by trust issues among students. Ah, don't be bothered with the truth of this paragraph because this paragraph is just invented by me for this discussion. Okay, and now we can take a look at the pattern here. Okay, the theme of this clause is derived from the element of this rim. Okay, so here you can see here the topical theme of this clause is teacher feedback, which is an element of the rim of the previous or the preceding clause. You know, and then here, the topical theme is peer feedback, which is derived from the element from an element from the rim of this clause. And then this one, its effectiveness, which is the topical theme of this clause, the last clause, okay, is derived from the element of the rim that is can be effect. Okay, so you can see the difference between this one, the linear theme pattern, and the constant theme pattern here. And here, the new information is developed throughout the paragraph. Okay, so the writer does not repeat the theme, but develops the new information. And this one in the first clause, this is the new information, the given information, and then this new information. And once this information is known by the reader, its status turns into the given or something that has been known, and it goes to out the clause, goes to clause. Okay, and then the last one is the split ring pattern. I think this is the last slide. Okay, I'm right. And this pattern is characterized by one ring splits into several themes across subsequent clauses, developing subtopics derived from a single idea. So I think this is very easy to be found in the many academic text. Okay. I have one sample paragraph here, but I, I didn't complete it because we just need to focus on the theme. Okay, so as you can see here, the first clause has several elements in the ring. That is the two reasons. Okay, and then this ring from this ring, or I'm sorry, I mean this ring splits into several themes, like here, this one, and this. So you can predict that if the text here sounds like students prefer teacher feedback for three reasons, and then we will be able to predict, we can predict that um, this rim will split into three themes. Okay? So this is just some examples for the thematic progression techniques. Okay? Alright, so I think that's all about the Theme and Rheme system, and I have completed it with the thematic progression techniques. So this is the last system that I want to discuss in this playlist. I hope that all the videos that I have made, regardless of the message that I have, that I have, because this system of functional linguistics is a new theory for me. Mm, okay, and yeah, in delivering the materials, I have I have a lot of challenges, but I made it. Okay, I did it. So thank you for your patience, and I hope that we can see in the other videos in the other playlist. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Bye.